As an author, you will experience a lot of rejection. You're going to be rejected by agents, by publishing houses, by other authors, by different ads people that you could potentially be buying ads for your book from. You are going to be rejected by readers. Every single minute of every single day, you are going to get bad reviews. You're going to get hit on social media. You will get rejection after rejection after rejection. I don't think there's an industry that has as much rejection as the writing industry. If you want to be an author, prepare yourself, get that thick skin, because you will be getting rejections. We've actually talked about that in a recent video. I'll link it down below. But when it comes to rejections, you can actually build up your immunity to it so it doesn't hurt so bad. Rejection will hurt. I understand that being told no is painful. Not being accepted into something does hurt us, but you do not have to let it consume you or take over what you're doing. I have seen authors handle rejection so badly that they've threatened to burn down publishers and agents and all of these things. We're not doing that. We are going to manage this, and we're going to mitigate a lot of those feelings by the conversation we're going to have today. So remember, as an author, you will get rejection. We all get rejection. We all get rejected every single day publicly. You will learn to grow with this. So here's the deal. The more rejection you experience, the less it hurts you. The more you go through something, the less it's going to hurt you, and the more you're going to learn how to cope with this. So one of the best things that I can recommend to you is to seek out rejection. Go find ways to be rejected, little small ways that it doesn't hurt, and build up your immunity. Because remember, when you do something, if you get rejected, it doesn't change anything. Your life is exactly as it is. If you submit your book to an agent and they say no, nothing bad happens. It just means you're exactly where you're at now. It doesn't change. If they accept you, nothing's changed. But if they reject you, nothing is changing. Your life isn't changing because somebody told you no. So rejection is not as scary as it seems. Rejection is going to be something that leaves you exactly where you are and potentially gives you the groundwork to do bigger, better things or to go down better paths. So rejection is actually a very good thing. So we're seeking out little opportunities to be rejected where it doesn't matter, where the stakes aren't high. I understand taking your creative baby and giving it to an agent and having them reject you is going to feel a lot more painful than some of those small rejections. So how can you seek out being rejected? How can you get no's? How can you ask small little questions and be told no? You can go to a restaurant and ask them for something that's not on the menu. They're probably going to say, oh, we don't make that here. That's a rejection, baby. You just publicly asked a question to your waiter or your waitress, and they said no. Pretty good, right? You can go into the library and ask for a book that you know they don't have. Rejection. You can go into a store and ask for something that you don't see, or you can ask for a size that's not on the rack. If you go into a store and you can see they've pretty much sold out of something, go and ask if they have it in the back. Chances are they're going to say no. Little rejections, little rejections. You can then ask somebody to come do something with you over the weekend. If they have time, they'll come. Otherwise, you're getting a rejection. If you know somebody's going to be pretty busy, ask them a question. Have them reject you. The more rejection you can build up, the less painful it is and the less scary it is to ask the questions. Now you're going to build from there. What can we do that's a little bit more? Maybe you're going to ask somebody to do an interview on your Instagram live. Maybe you're going to ask them to do an interview on your YouTube or a live stream on your YouTube. Maybe they'll say yes, maybe they'll say no, but the more people you ask, the more you're going to get yeses and the more you're going to get nos. The more questions you ask, the more likelihood that there is opportunity for rejection. You don't have to necessarily seek out opportunities where you're always going to be told no. In the beginning, ask the questions where you know you're going to get rejected. It starts to build up that immunity. Then as you grow, now ask for bigger things with potentially bigger outcomes. And maybe it works for you. If it works for you, fantastic. If it doesn't, now you have experienced rejection and you can move on. And I really like the idea of leaning into industry things. So ask for interviews, ask for collaborations, ask for things with other authors, other writers, things that are going on, and ask them in ways that are actually going to potentially help you grow. I love being able to build up a platform before you're an author, before you're doing big things, before you're doing your next big project or the next thing that you could potentially have a big rejection on, so that you can continue to build your community. So go ask people to do collaborations with you. Some of them will say yes and some of them will say no. And you're going to have different experiences with those. And all those can be chalked up to rejection. Rejection is not that scary. If you come to me and say, hey, KM, would you do an Instagram live stream with me? I'm probably going to say yes. I might not be the best choice for this one. But you are also risking that opportunity for me to say no. Oh, I can't do this. I'm busy. I'm not available. I'm not going to be able to do that. And from there, now you have that rejection. Does that hurt you in any way? No, you just didn't get an interview with me, right? So ask people to come do fun collaborations. The best that can happen is you do something really cool, and the worst that can happen is you learn how to deal with that rejection. Not everything has to be a yes. And not everything has to be a hard rejection. So as you're building up that immunity, now it becomes way, way easier for you to be able to ask bigger, more scary questions with bigger outcomes and bigger risk. I can go up to anybody and ask anything and not have to worry about the outcome. I've asked people to be on my shows. I've asked people to do fun collaborations with me. I've asked for opportunities to speak on stages. And I've been told yes and no in most of these things. I don't get hurt when bad things happen. So if you've been following along, I am actually going back into the traditional space with some of my books, very few of them, but I am looking for some agents. And so I have sent out my manuscript. I just got my first rejection back and it didn't hurt at all. And I just talked to another writer who's on the very same wavelength as me. He just got a rejection. He doesn't feel anything bad about that at all because it means it's getting us on the right path. That goes back to the previous video. I'll link that down below for you. But building up your immunity to rejection means that you're going to have the freedom to ask whatever question whenever. You can go up to anybody and do cool things. I remember back earlier in my career, many years ago, I had gotten really good at asking people to be on my shows and to do different things. And I got really good at working with authors, even celebrity authors. But then I had the opportunity, I was speaking at a mermaid convention. And they had one of the Disney animators from The Little Mermaid there. And I really, really wanted to work with it. And I admit, a little starstruck. I don't get starstruck. I don't care about celebrity, but this man created our childhood. So I was a little starry-eyed. I was a little nervous about it. And I had to build up to that. And so I walked into that event. I found that man and I watched for a minute. I was nervous. I was so nervous. And I went up and I explained who I was and what I was doing. And he said yes, but I risked rejection. And it could have gone either way. He could have said, no, I don't like that. He's not a super techie guy. That might not have been his vibe. And that was a really high stakes thing for me. It was the only time I was super nervous about asking somebody to be on my show. And it ended up working so well. I got a yes. And then he asked to do my show again the next day at the convention. And then we did more and more, and we are really good friends now. But man, I risked a lot. There was a lot of rejection there, and that would have really hurt me. That one would have hurt me because he developed our childhood. I was very starstruck by this man, and if he had said no and he was unkind about it, that would have really hurt. It would have hurt if he had said, no, it's not really something I'm interested in. That wouldn't have felt good. But if he had not been nice about it and rejected me, that would have hurt even more. So I had to build up to that. Now I can go up I talk to anybody. It doesn't matter who you are. I have zero fear of coming up and asking a silly question or asking people to do things or getting rejected publicly. I have zero fear because I've built up that tolerance over the years. So start now. How can you find small things to get rejected by? You can even do exercises with your friends and family and say, hey, listen, I'm working on being rejected. I'm going to ask you some questions. Can you please tell me no? Can you please tell me no so that I can kind of start dealing with this process? You can do it in a way that is defined by you first, and then go to a place where it gets a little bigger and a little bigger, and you don't know what the outcome is going to be. If you know the outcome is going to be no, that kind of helps you learn how to ask those questions, learn how to try to do things a little bit better, and then you can grow from there. But rejection is not scary. It doesn't have to be scary. It feels painful at first, but then it becomes easier. Think of it like playing a guitar. When you learn how to play guitar, you're going to be holding the strings of the guitar, and it's going to be very painful on the tips of your fingers. And then you're going to develop some calluses there, and it's no longer going to hurt to hold those strings down. What you're doing with rejection is you're learning how to play the guitar. It's going to be a little painful at first, so start small. And then you're going to develop those calluses. And it's going to be easier to deal with rejection. And then it's not going to hurt or be scary to be rejected. And you can ask bigger and bigger questions and give yourself more and more opportunity to grow and to thrive and to do the things that you like. And then when you have something big, like working with an agent or pitching to a big publishing house or whatever it is, it doesn't matter because the outcome is always going to be that you are left in the exact same place that you are now. Nothing's going to change if you get rejected. But you have the possibility to do some really cool things if it works out in your favor. Rejection is one of the best things that could happen to you. Watch that other video. We talk about it in there, how you can work with rejection and why rejection is so good and what it actually means when you get rejected, because it's nothing bad. It's really actually very, very good and very healthy for you. So watch that other video, drop your questions down below, and follow along for more as we continue to help you navigate the world of your author life, from your writing to your publishing to your marketing, to make this your most profitable author year ever with the most amount of fun and success and the least amount of stress. We'll see you then.